Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and I'm taking care of business. Joining me today is Elton Ash, who is Executive Vice President of RENX Canada. Thanks for joining us today, Elton.
Great to be with you, Mario.
Let's talk about the luxury home report that RENX put out today, showing demand is quite high across the country. Triple-digit growth, year-over-year growth in sales in many markets. For example, here in Calgary, I saw 122.8% growth. What's leading to that demand this past year?
Well, it's the pandemic. That's the bottom line. It's affecting every segment of the real estate industry, whether that's first-time home buyers getting into their first home, the condominium market, or the luxury home market. It really underscores, no matter what segment of the market you're in, real estate is a hot commodity and it is seen as a safe investment.
Mm-hmm. So what, when you look at the sales, like who's driving this right now? Who is driving the demand for $1 million plus homes across the country?
Well, and it's a made in Canada opportunity, I guess, for lack of a better description. In previous years, and Vancouver and Toronto were really affected by the foreign buyer segment, mainland China especially. But this, of course, pandemic, that was not the case. This was really Canadians upgrading in a big way their home environment. And really, we saw that right from coast to coast, that this is a local market phenomenon, so to speak.
Yeah, one of the interesting things I noticed in the report was the smaller markets benefiting through this. And I take Calgary, for example. It's a big market, but it's smaller compared to obviously some of those big cities across the country. But $1 million home in Calgary gets you a lot more than $1 million home in Toronto or Vancouver would, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And the surprising thing with Calgary, in 2020, we had 495 home sales over that $1 million mark. And this past year, 1,103, just a huge increase. But when you look at the Alberta market and what Alberta and city of Calgary have gone through, the last 7 years with the down cycle, this has been quite a swing.
It has, yeah. So what do you expect for the rest of the year across the country when it comes to the luxury home market?
Well, and really, as far as Calgary is concerned, it's moving a little different from the rest of the country, where there's going to be a continued low supply in the luxury home market. The majority of markets in the country are going to be in more balanced conditions in this higher price range. But Calgary, there's low inventory, and that in this luxury home segment. And so that is going to remain the case, which means more pressure on pricing to continue to go up there.
Yeah, exactly. And the same thing in terms of buyers, the same kind of demographic buying these days.
Yeah, the supplies, the demand side is going to stay strong. So that's why we will see continued upward pressure on pricing. And the buyer segment really, and Calgary is in a unique position compared to the rest of the country because of the market conditions the way they were the previous seven plus years. And so there's this pent up demand, so to speak. And oil now, of course, has recovered nicely. And so the luxury home market has really gained some tremendous advantage from that.
Okay, and Elton, I just was curious, when you looked at that report, is there anything that surprised you in terms of markets that were doing really well in the luxury home area?
Yeah. I think the surprise you mentioned earlier, smaller cities, cities like Barrie, Ontario, 300,000 population, and seeing huge increase of volume there. So this is across all markets where we've seen this increase. But when we look at the report, what really came home to me was that real estate is seen as such a strong, steady investment, no matter what has occurred through the cycles of the economic cycles that occur,
Yeah.
and that luxury real estate is really viewed as a safe haven to put money, and to continue to grow. And that's the other thing that we found is that a lot of people look at this as a bit of a retirement fund.
Yeah.
And that I know that especially financial consultants and economists may be a little bit concerned about that, because from a retirement sector, it doesn't particularly earn revenue for you. But in this end of the market, it is seen as that safe haven retirement sector, especially as we age and then our housing requirements change, the equity becomes valuable at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks very much, Elton, for joining us today.
You're sure welcome. Great to be with you.
All right, that was Elton Ash, Executive Vice President for REMAX Canada. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, and this has been Taking Care of Business. Thanks for joining us today.